This episode of The Young Turks is brought to you by Netflix. Go to netflix.com/TYT for your free trial membership.
Let's start with the practice called bacha-bazi. Now, we've talked about this on the show before. It is mainly a Pashtun tradition where older gentlemen have younger boys dance for them dressed as girls. They find that very entertaining. We showed a little clip of a documentary here where they get so moved that the older gentlemen sing to the boys, they write poetry to the boys, and eventually, of course, did I leave out this part, have sex with the boys. Now, in the past, there's been notes written by Taliban command telling the Taliban fighters, please stop taking little boys home. Okay? So you see that the religious fundamentalists over there are pretty similar to the religious fundamentalists over here. Whenever you have those guys, all of a sudden there's these scandals and cultures, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, through WikiLeaks, we find a new twist on this. Congratulations, some of that was financed by your tax dollars. DynCorp is a private corporation that has a security contract in Afghanistan. Part of that is to train some of the Afghan police. Apparently, they use some of that money to not only hire prostitutes and to buy drugs. And by the way, when I saw that story, I was like, look, they're fighting over in Afghanistan. I'm not going to nitpick whether they had hookers or they bought hookers for other people, what they do with their drugs. Look, I know it's bad, etc. But the third branch of it is unacceptable. To recruit, lure in, work with local Afghans, they would arrange to buy these boys to have them perform and then eventually go home with some of those Afghan leaders. Oh, hell no. You can't use United States taxpayer dollars to... I mean, I don't know why this isn't the largest story in the country. Sometimes I read these things and I think, you know, are we the one that took the crazy... Why is that not huge? They're using tax dollars to buy young boys, underage boys, pedophilia, for their contacts in Afghanistan. That's crazy. So, as I said, this is called a bacha-bazi. DynCorp not only did this, but when one of the ministers in Afghanistan complained and said, God, if people in Afghanistan even find out, I'm going to be in massive trouble. That was Interior Minister Hanif Atmar, who eventually was fired, actually. He goes over, and this is very interesting, to the U.S. and says, hey, you got to stop DynCorp from doing this. This is crazy. One, our guys tell him, we don't have the legal authority. What? We don't have the legal authority to stop DynCorp from either doing this or training the soldiers? They say, no, 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 they have a contract with us to train your soldiers and your police, and we can't interfere with that. What do you mean we can't interfere with that? We're the United States government. Well, we can't interfere with a private contractor, you know, which, you know, you can categorize as mercenaries from doing this stuff? Of course we can. That's crazy. I mean, unless our government has completely been bought, which you can make a decent argument for, where we no longer have authority over the corporations. They are the overlords, they are the bosses, and we just take their orders, no matter how heinous and ridiculous and absurd and illegal they are. So that's point number one as to what our reaction was. Point number two was our diplomat over there told the Afghan minister, hey, listen, cool it, man. The U.S. press sucks. They probably won't even latch onto this story. If we make a big deal out of it, they'll have to make a big deal out of it. But if we play it cool, I bet they bury it. And it turns out, of course they did. The Washington Post in July referred to this practice as, quote, questionable management oversight. Really? Yeah, I would call it questionable. But did they even explain it, what it was? No. Here's how they explained it. That DynCorp workers had, quote, hired a teenage boy to perform a tribal dance at a company farewell party. No, that's not what happened. They hired a boy to do the tribal practice of having sex with him. That's what they did. This wasn't some like, oh, no big deal. They're just having a local dance. And so then our diplomat turns around to the Afghans and say, see, our press sucks. You didn't have to worry about a thing. And now we find out through WikiLeaks that, of course, it was far, far worse than that, and that the Washington Post did not report the whole news. And by the way, in a Guardian article about this through WikiLeaks, They said that they have a long tradition of doing this, the Afghans do, Pashtuns in particular. And of course, not all Pashtuns do it, and as you can see, it's controversial in Afghanistan as well. And that this dancing, this activity, quote, sometimes crosses the line into child abuse, with Afghans keeping the boys as possessions. Yeah, that would cross the line when you keep a boy as your possession. And there's been documentaries on this. This is not benign. This is not a normal dance. They're having sex with them. And apparently they're doing it on our dime. Look, thank God for WikiLeaks that we're finding out this stuff that our press maybe even knew but didn't even bother covering, and some of which we never found out about before. Crazy. Can we please stop it? By the way, is this still going on? I don't know. Can we please stop it? Or when we ask them again, will they be like, oh, I'm sorry. That is not within our purview. DynCorp has taken over the Defense Department, and they will not allow us to regulate this. All right. By the way, it did cause, eventually, a problem in Afghanistan. 2 Afghan policemen and 9 other Afghans were arrested. And the number of people arrested from DynCorp, none? Oh, yeah, that's weird. That's really surprising. Get a load of Netflix. They deliver the movie to your house, no late charges, free shipping.
You can watch thousands of movies or TV shows straight on your PC or on your television through a gaming console.
Netflix.com/TYT. Free trial membership. You get Netflix all over you.